Imagine a world where 1991 unfolded differently, a world where the events that shaped our history took a different turn. The Soviet hammer and sickle didn't fall, remaining a powerful symbol of the communist ideology. The Berlin Wall remained a stark symbol of division, continuing to separate East and West Berlin, a physical and ideological barrier. Instead of witnessing the Soviet Union's disintegration, we saw its resilience, its ability to adapt and survive against all odds. The collapse, a pivotal moment in our timeline, never happened. The Soviet Union stood firm, defying expectations. The reasons for the Soviet Union's demise are complex and interconnected, involving a myriad of social, economic, and political factors. Economic stagnation, political upheaval, and ethnic tensions all played a part, creating a perfect storm of challenges. In our alternate timeline, these factors were mitigated, allowing the USSR to weather the storm and emerge stronger. Perhaps Gorbachev's reforms succeeded, breathing new life into the communist system, revitalizing its economy and political structure. Or maybe a different leader emerged, one who could navigate the turbulent waters of the late 20th century with skill and vision. Whatever the reason, the Soviet Union endured, continuing to be a formidable presence on the global stage. It remained a superpower, locked in an ideological battle with the West, a constant reminder of the Cold War tensions. This is the reality we will explore, a world where the Cold War never ended and the Soviet Union never fell. With the Soviet Union still standing strong, the Cold War's icy grip on the world tightened, casting a long shadow over global politics and everyday life. The familiar dance of proxy wars and nuclear brinkmanship continued unabated, with each side pushing the other to the brink of disaster, yet always pulling back at the last moment. The United States and its allies faced a constant challenge from the communist bloc, a relentless struggle for influence and power that spanned continents and decades. Imagine a world where Afghanistan remained a Soviet quagmire, a never-ending conflict that drained resources and morale. The Mujahideen, armed and funded by the West, would continue their fierce fight against Soviet forces, turning the rugged Afghan terrain into a battleground of ideologies. The rise of the Taliban, a defining event in our timeline, may have been averted or taken a different form, altering the course of history in unpredictable ways. The Middle East, a region always at the crossroads of global power, would have been a key battleground, its strategic importance magnified by the Cold War's pressures. The Soviet Union's support for Arab nations against Israel might have intensified, leading to even greater tensions and conflicts in the region. The region could have been even more volatile, a powder keg in the shadow of two superpowers, with every local conflict potentially escalating into a global crisis. The Soviet Union's economic woes were no secret. Centralized planning and a lack of innovation stifled growth. For the USSR to survive in this alternate timeline, economic reforms were crucial. Perhaps Gorbachev's perestroika, his attempt to restructure the Soviet economy, could have been more successful. Imagine a scenario where limited free market principles were introduced, fostering innovation and entrepreneurship. The Soviet Union might have become a different kind of economic power, a hybrid of socialist ideals and capitalist pragmatism. The rise of personal computers and the internet would have presented unique challenges and opportunities. Could the Soviet Union have controlled this information revolution, or would it have eroded the foundations of its closed society? The Soviet Union's continued existence would have had profound implications for global politics. As a superpower, its influence would have been felt in every corner of the world. The non-aligned movement, a group of countries that sought to remain independent of both the US and the USSR, might have played a more significant role. Caught between two powerful blocs, these nations could have held the balance of power, shaping the international agenda. The collapse of European colonialism might have unfolded differently. Without the US as the sole superpower, newly independent nations might have been more receptive to Soviet overtures. The Cold War competition for influence could have had both positive and negative consequences for the developing world. Section 5, To the Cosmos and Beyond, The Race for the Stars. The space race, a defining feature of the Cold War, would have continued with renewed vigor. Both superpowers would have poured resources into space exploration, each eager to demonstrate its technological superiority. Imagine a world where the Mir space station became a bustling hub of international collaboration, cosmonauts and astronauts working side by side, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. The quest to reach Mars, a distant dream in our timeline, could have become a reality in this alternate 2024. The competition in space might have yielded scientific advancements with far-reaching implications. New technologies developed for space exploration could have found applications in everyday life, transforming communication, transportation, and medicine. Section 6. Behind the Iron Curtain, Life in the Everlasting USSR. Life within the Soviet Union would have been vastly different in this alternate reality. The reforms necessary for the nation's survival would have brought about social and cultural changes. Glasnost, Gorbachev's policy of openness, might have ushered in an era of greater freedom of expression. Imagine a Soviet Union where dissent was tolerated, where artists and intellectuals could challenge the status quo. The standard of living, a key factor in the Soviet Union's demise, might have improved. Economic reforms, coupled with increased trade and collaboration with the West, could have led to a higher quality of life for ordinary citizens. Section 7. A world transformed echoes of what might have been. The Soviet Union's survival would have fundamentally altered the course of history. The world today would be a vastly different place, shaped by decades of continued Cold War tensions and the enduring presence of a communist superpower. The global political landscape would be defined by a multipolar world, with the US, the USSR, and perhaps China vying for influence. Alliances would be fluid and complex, as nations navigated the challenges of a world divided. The end of the Cold War brought about a period of relative peace and prosperity. In this alternate timeline, the world might be a more dangerous place, with the constant threat of conflict between superpowers looming large. Section 8. Imagine the possibilities, a universe of alternate histories. The scenario we have explored is just one of countless possibilities. Each alternate history opens a door to a new world, a new reality that could have been. Alternate history allows us to delve into the what-ifs, to explore the roads not taken and the potential consequences of pivotal moments in time. It's a fascinating exercise in imagination and critical thinking. What if the Cuban Missile Crisis had escalated into nuclear war? The world as we know it would be drastically different, with untold consequences for global politics and human survival. What if John F. Kennedy had not been assassinated? His continued leadership might have altered the course of civil rights, the Vietnam War, and the space race. What if the Berlin Wall had never fallen? The Cold War might have persisted, keeping the world in a state of tension and division for much longer. These are just a few of the countless questions that alternate history allows us to ponder. Each scenario offers a unique lens through which we can examine the past and its impact on the present. By exploring these hypothetical scenarios, we gain a deeper understanding of the forces that have shaped our world. We can appreciate the complexity and interconnectedness of historical events. We begin to see that history is not a linear progression but a tapestry of interconnected events, each one capable of altering the course of human destiny. This exploration enriches our understanding and appreciation of the intricate web of history.